Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope everyone is good. So today we will be talking about some more NUST entry test past paper questions which are from the 19th chapter, that is the Conic section, and it is one of the most important chapters. So please stay attentive, okay? All right, but as usual, before talking about the past paper questions, we will be discussing the contents of this and we'll have a quick overview. All right, so in conic section we will be talking about parabola, circles, and these shapes. Okay, so this is a circle. The equation or the general equation of a circle looks like x minus 8 squared y minus k squared equals r squared. Now this general equation has a lot to do with the appearance of the circle. This h and k are the x and y coordinates respectively of the center. So this is a circle, this is the center. The coordinates of center are h and k, and this is your h and this is your k. What is this r squared? This r squared is basically the square of the radius of the circle, right? So now we know the general form of the equation of a circle has a lot to do with the appearance of the circle. The coordinates of centers, particularly the x coordinate, is this one, the y coordinate is this one, and the radius of your circle is basically this r. Okay, now it could be in the questions you have the equation of a circle but it is not in this form, so that does not matter. The only thing you need to understand is that whatever equation you have can be converted to this form. And whenever you have this form, why is it good? Why is it the general form? Because this gives us the information about the center of your circle and the radius. So this is the first most important thing we need to understand. All right, okay. Let's talk about the next thing. Now, this is something we have been discussing already. We talked about circumcenter, like we talked about circumcircle, then in circle and x circle, and there we talked about the centers of all these circles, right? So this is something we'll be using again. It's called the circumcenter. Circumcircle was basically a circle that was being made on the three vertices of the triangle. So the pink or peach triangle is a triangle. It has three blue vertices, and your circle is being made on these three vertices, right? Okay, so this is your circumcircle. The center of this circle is called the circumcenter. That is it. Now, an important thing about this is that this center is obviously the center of your circumcircle, but it has some other thing as well. And that other thing is whatever triangle you're using for making the circumcircle, the triangle would be having three sides. You need three perpendicular bisectors which would be bisecting the three sides of the triangle. This side is the first side, then AC is the second side, it is being perpendicularly bisected here, and then this is the third side, so it is bisected here. So basically the circumcenter is not only the center of your circle, that is certain, but it is the point where the three perpendicular bisectors meet. Okay, so now we know the point at which three perpendicular bisectors which are bisecting the three sides of the triangle meet, that point is basically your circumcenter, because we will be using this definition in the questions. That is why I'm emphasizing on this. Obviously, this is certain that circumcenter is the center of the circle, right? That is why you have center. But that part is okay. But the more important part is that how is that circumcenter being formed? It is being made due to the point of intersection of the three perpendicular bisectors which are bisecting the three sides of your triangle. All right, okay. Okay, so that is it. This is something we need to understand, and now I'll be explaining the required contents there, and then I'll tell you how to solve questions. Also, during the questions, we will be referring to some more PDFs for having a quick overview about a specific topic. But for now, we are good to go. All right. Okay. So this is the first question, and it says, which one is not the equation of circle? Now we know that the general form of the equation of a circle is x minus 8 squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h and k were the coordinates of the center and r was the radius. This is the general form. I told you while we were talking about it that this is the general form, does not imply that other forms would not be equation of a circle. Yes, there could be some issues, but if you have something of this type or this type or this type or this type, all of them can be the equations of the circle. Just by saying that it does not look like this would not imply that this won't be the equation of a circle. This certainly would be the equation of a circle, but the only issue is that we'll be figuring out every option here, and then I'll tell you what is the issue. Okay. All right. So again, we will be using the method where we'll be crossing the wrong answer. Okay. Now we are looking for not the equation of circle. Okay. Not the equation of circle. Okay. Let's talk about C first. C is certainly the equation of a circle. Why? Because I can write it as x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 7 squared. This is the radius, and this, these are the coordinates of the center. So x squared plus y squared equals 49 is certainly the equation of a circle, and we are looking for not the equation of the circle. So this is not the correct answer. Okay, that is good. We are clear with that part. Okay, let's look at option number A now. Okay. Option A says 35x squared plus 35y squared minus 30x plus 17y minus 2. Now you guys know that if you have this x squared term and this x term, by doing completing square, you would be able to find something of this type. I repeat, if you have the x squared term and if you have the x term, by completing square, you would be able to find something of this type. Okay. Similarly, when you have the y squared term and the y term, by completing square, you would be able to find something of this type. So if you have this, you would be having a number on this side, and this certainly would be the equation of a circle. So this cannot be our answer because it says not the equation of circle. Okay, let's look at option B. Okay, what is happening in B? 17x squared 2gx. Again we have the x term and the x squared term, 17y squared and 2fy. Again I have the y squared and y term, so I would be able to make something of this type, something of this type, and then the radius as well. Okay, so this again is the equation of a circle, so this cannot be the answer because we're looking for not the equation. This means we are left with D, so D would be the answer. But since right now we are not in the examination hall, we are preparing for the contents and we are more interested in seeing why is D the answer. So let's talk about it directly. So I will just erase all of this. Okay. Now, when we say D is the answer, D is the answer, so why is D not the equation of your circle? Because it is x squared plus 2y squared minus 2xy plus 2fy. So basically, the problem at hand is that we need an x squared term and a term with x only, a y squared term and a term with y only. The term which was supposed to have x only has this y as well. This is where it is becoming very confusing, and we know we would not be able to separate this term and this term because of this y, and now we know that we would not be able to convert this equation to the general form. That is why D is not the equation of your circle. All right, okay, so this was the very first question, and this is the answer. Okay, let's talk about the next question. Okay, now this is very interesting. The circumcenter of right angle triangle is any vertex. The vertex where two legs meet, midpoint of hypotenuse at which the angle bisectors meet. Okay. Now, what was the circumcenter? We have just discussed. Circumcenter is the point where the perpendicular bisectors bisecting the three sides of the triangle meet. Okay. So, this is basically the side bisector. It is not the angle bisector. It is not any vertex. Okay. Now, the vertex where two legs meet, no, three sides need to meet, the midpoint of hypotenuse. Now, this sounds a bit different because the triangle which we were discussing was not a right angle triangle, it's just a random triangle, right? It's a scalene triangle, all the three sides are different. And here they are talking about the right angle triangle. So, for this, I will be stop sharing the screen and I am going to share another PDF. Okay. Now I have shared my screen again. I hope you guys are able to see it. Yes. Okay. All right. So what is happening here? This is again a circumcircle because the circle is made using the three vertices of the triangle. So the triangle is inside, the circle is touching the three vertices of the triangle. That is why it is a circumcircle. The circumcenter is the center of your circle, but the more significant part is that the three side bisectors would be meeting at a point, and that point would basically be your circumcenter. Now, this is the side bisector of first point. This is the side bisector of the second point, and this is side bisector of the third point. So this is the point where the three side bisectors are meeting. What is this point? The hypotenuse side of this right angle triangle is BC. So it is the midpoint of the hypotenuse side, right? That is how we know that it is going to be option C, because that's it, the midpoint of the hypotenuse side. Also, you guys can clearly see that this line is basically the perpendicular bisector because this angle is 90 degrees and it is bisecting because this side and this side they are equal. Similarly, this red line is also the perpendicular bisector because it is bisecting and the angle is 90 degrees, right? All right. So again, I'll shift to the previous PDF we were talking about. Yep. Okay, all right. I've shared the screen again. Let me just check if you guys are able to see it or not. All right, okay, yes. Okay, so the answer for this one, the circumcenter of right angle triangle is the midpoint of hypotenuse. So the answer is going to be C in this case. Okay, now we know after applying the logic that y is C the answer. All right, let's talk about the next question quickly. Equation of a circle with center at origin and radius 3. This is a first keyword, second keyword. This implies that h would be 0 and k would be 0, right? H was the x coordinate of the center and k was the y coordinate of the center. So it is going to be x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 3 squared, that is 9. So this is going to be the answer. Why isn't this the answer? Because we have a minus sign here and we know that in the general form between the two pairs we have plus. Okay, alright. So that is how I know the answer is going to be A. Okay, let's talk about the next question quickly. Okay, the circumcenter of the right angle triangle is, again, it is the midpoint of hypotenuse. We have just discussed that. We know that circumcenter is basically the point where the three perpendicular bisectors meet. In case of a right angle triangle, that would specifically be the midpoint of your hypotenuse side. Okay, and then the equation of a circle with center at origin and radius 3 is x squared plus y squared equals 9. We have just discussed these two. All right, let's talk about the next one. This is a new question again. Coordinates of center with the circle of equation this is, now we have a circle and we are interested in its center, right? The coordinates of the center. How do I find the coordinates of the center? By converting this equation into the general form. So it would be x squared plus y squared plus 2x plus y plus 17 equals 0. This is the equation of the circle, right? It is not the general equation. I need to convert this to the general equation and then h and k would be clear. H would be the x coordinate of the center and k would be the y coordinate of the center. So I am going to write it as x squared plus 2x plus y squared plus y plus 17 equals 0. I've just written x squared and x terms together and then y squared and y terms together, right? Now x squared plus 2x plus half of this number. Now guys, I am using the completing square method to find the coordinates of the center. So this would be the half of 2, that is 1 squared, and obviously if I'm adding something in an equation, in order to neutralize it I need to subtract that as well. Plus y squared plus y, half of the y coefficient here is 1, so it would be plus 1 by 2 squared and then minus 1 by 2 squared. Okay, what have we done? This is what I had. Then I wrote the x terms together, the y terms together. Then using the coefficient of x, that was 2. I know that the half of 2 is 1, so I added 1 squared, I subtracted 1 squared. Coefficient of y is 1, I added its half squared and subtracted its half squared, and 17 is coming as it is. Now I can write this thing as x plus 1 squared minus 1 plus y plus half squared minus 1 by 4 plus 17 equals 0. There's no point in completing this into there's no point in converting this completely, because the question which we need to answer here is the coordinates of center. So this would be the x coordinate and this would be the y coordinate. Now in the general form we have x minus h and y minus h, and h and k are the coordinates of center. So this implies that h is going to be minus 1 and k is going to be minus 1 by 2. So the answer is going to be C in this case. Please ask me right now in case of any questions, any queries. I'll wait for some time because I know students get confused at this point most of the times. So I'll just wait for your response. And if you guys are okay with it, then I will explain the contents properly. Okay, I hope you guys have no questions then. Okay, let's talk about the seventh question. The seventh question says, which is not the equation of circle which touches both the x's and is of radius 13? Okay, now we have three equations and option D says none of these. We need to figure out an equation, right, that does not have radius 13 and it does not touch both the x's. So this is what we need to figure out, and we have not. Okay, which is not the equation of a circle which touches both the x's and is of radius 13. So understanding of the question is important. Right now we need to see one thing, that radius is 13 for the first one, 13 for the second one, 13 for the third one, right? So this is something that is making us see that this condition is not satisfied by the first three choices. Let's talk about this part. Okay, the center of the first circle is basically at minus 13 and minus 13. So imagine you have a circle. This is minus 13 and then this is minus 13. For example, this is a circle. If the radius is 13, obviously this length would be 13, this length would be 13, and the circle would be something of this type, right? It would be touching both the x's. So that is why A cannot be the answer. Similarly, in case of B, the center is 13 and minus 13. So that would be x is 13 and y is minus 13 would be somewhere here. And again, the radius would be 13. So this would be the circle. So this is not the answer because it has the radius 13 and it is touching the axis. So it is not satisfying the condition. Then minus 13 and positive 13, it would be somewhere here. And again, for a fact, my circles are obviously not perfect, but you guys get the idea. If this is 13 and if the radius is 13 and if this is 13 and the radius is 13, the circle would obviously be touching the axis, right? So all these options are wrong. So we are left with none of these. Now, the only problem in the NET exam is that the statement is not very clear. It has so many not, so many ifs and buts that students are not able to understand the question. The question is easy, but in 2 hours in 3 hours when you need to solve 200 MCQs, that is difficult. Without calculator, without data booklet, that is difficult. So please try being fresh just so you are able to solve questions logically. And yeah, that is it. Okay, let's talk about the next question. Okay, now this is very, very interesting. It says the midpoint of the chord cut off from the line x plus y equals 13 by the circle is. Alright, now please be clear with the statement. The midpoint of the chord cut off from the line x plus y equals 13 by the circle x squared plus y squared equals 9 is. I'll stay quiet for a few seconds. I'll make the drawing meanwhile. Just try understanding the question at this point. Okay. Now the midpoint of the chord cut off from the line this by the circle this. Let's make the circle first. H is 0 and K is 0, so it would be the origin would be the center of the circle. The radius would be 3. This is not a perfect circle, but we get the idea, right? The radius is 3 and the center is at 0, 0. All right, now I'll just write this equation this way. Y equals minus x plus 3. X is 0, y would be 3, y is 0, x would be 3. I have discussed this method earlier as well. Whenever you're interested in plotting the line, just find the values on, just find the location of the line on the axis. So for that, you do x equals 0 and y equals 0. So this is the first one, where your x is 0 and y is 3. And this is second one, x is 3 and y is 0. Using these 2 points, I'll make a line connecting these 2 orange points. This is your chord. Now you're interested in finding out the midpoint of this chord, that would be somewhere here. Now what long method do we use to find the midpoint? No, there's no need in wasting your time and thinking about it that way. Now just look at all the options. Can A be the answer? A says minus 3 by 2 and minus 3 by 2. That is something lying in the third quadrant. We are in the first quadrant. It cannot be the answer. X is 3 by 2 and y is minus 3 by 2. This is something in the fourth quadrant. It is not the answer. X is negative and y is positive. It is something here. This cannot be the answer. This is the only choice which is lying in the first coordinate. That is how I know D is going to be the answer. Trust me, in the exam, the examiner is not going to give you difficult scenarios. Yes, obviously, some questions would be difficult, but then you need to be careful while allocating time. You need to be careful. If a question is easy, you should just spend a few seconds. And if a question is difficult, just save time from the easy questions and spend that for the difficult questions. Time allocation is the main thing for this exam, right? All right, let's talk about the next question. Okay. Now this is very interesting. It says which point lies inside the circle. All right. Now What are we going to do for this one? You are interested in seeing which point lies inside the circle, and this is your equation. Alright, now I can think about it as I'll take 2 common, and it would give me x squared plus 3 by 2x plus again 2 common, y squared plus 2y. Okay, this is my equation, and I've written it this way because I'm interested in finding the general form of equation. I'll tell you why. And then we have minus 1 equals 0. I can think about it as I can take 2 common, I can make it half, so I can write it this way. I'll just get rid of this 2 and I'll take 1 2 common, and this can be divided on the other side. So I'll write the next step here. Now we have x squared plus 3 by 2x plus half of x, the coefficient of x, that is 3 by 2, it would be 3 by 4 squared minus 3 by 4 squared plus y squared plus 2y plus 1 squared minus 1 squared minus 1 by 2. Students, in case of any confusions, you're more than welcome to stop me right now and I'll answer you directly. This is equal to 0. Now what do we have? We have x plus 3 by 4, y plus 1, then we have minus 3 by 4 squared and then minus 1, so it would give you minus 9 by 16 minus 1 and then minus 1 by 2. Okay, now we can just simplify this and just find the values for all of them. Okay, so it would give me this is equal to 0, x plus 3 by 4 squared, y plus 1 squared equals 33 by 16, and the radius is going to be obviously the root of this answer. So I can write it as root 33 by 4 whole squared. Alright, this is my circle. Now, which point lies inside the circle? Now I have 4 options: minus 1, minus 2, 2, 1, minus 3, 1, 1, minus 3. I'll be plugging in the x coordinates and y coordinates. I'll see if the left side turns out to be lesser than the right side, then that point would be lying inside the circle. Okay, so let's get started. Let's use x equals minus 1 and y equals minus 2. So when I will use x equals minus 1, let me just, I can write it here. This would give me minus 1 plus 3 by 4 would give me minus 1 by 4, and the square would give me 1 by 16 plus y plus 1, that would be minus 2 plus 1, so it would be 1 squared, and this is going to give you 17 by 16. Okay, now we have 17 by 16 on one side, and on the other side we have this value. Obviously, 17 by 16 is lesser than that. So this is lying inside the circle, right? So this is going to be the answer. I'll just explain you the concept this way. You can check for all the other values and the left side would turn out to be more than the right side. The issue is that whenever you have x squared plus y squared in the circle with center at origin less than r squared, this means all the area inside the circle. X squared plus y squared greater than r squared, all the area outside the circle. And when it's equal to r squared, it is the boundary. So this was the equation I got. And using this equation, I first of all calculated or converted this to the general form. Once I had a general form, I could see what would be my r squared. R squared would be 33 by 16. And when I plugged in the first coordinate, that is -1 and -2, I was getting 17 by 16. Now 17 by 16 is less than 33 by 16, right? Obviously. So that is how I know that my answer is going to be A. Alright, then you can check for B, C, D, and you will see that those points would be lying outside the circle. Alright, let's talk about the next question. The next question says the number of tangents drawn to a circle from a point outside the circle. Okay. The number of tangents drawn to a circle from a point. Okay. So imagine we have a circle over here. You must have studied this in O levels that from a point we can only make two tangents, right? I would not be able to make it properly here. But the idea is clear that you can only have two tangents that are being made from one point, right? So the answer is going to be B in this case. All right, okay. This is an equation of. Now we are interested in finding the degree of this equation. This is a cubic equation. So the degree is going to be 3. Okay. Now the 12th question says radius of the circle. Now we have an equation of a circle which is not in the general form. So I'm not sure if I would be able to find the find the radius directly. So I need to convert it to the general form first by taking 13 common because 13 is coming in all the tables. X squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 3y equals 0, and then 13 can be taken on the other side. So I can write it as x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 3y equals 0. Alright. Now I am interested in finding the radius. So for that I'll write down the x terms together. X squared minus 4x plus y squared plus 3y equals 0. X squared minus 4x plus half of 4 is 2 squared minus 2 squared plus y squared plus 3y plus 3 by 2 whole squared, and then minus 3 by 2 whole squared equals 0. This would be used for the circle. This would be used for the circle. We are left with minus 2 squared minus 3 by 2 whole squared, and this is going to give me minus 4 and minus 9 by 4, and this would give me 4 common minus 16 minus 9, and it is giving me minus 25 by 4. When I will take this minus 25 by 4 to this side, it would become 25 by 4, and obviously we have r squared here. For the radius, I need to find the root of this number, that would be 5 by 2. So the answer is going to be D in this case. Alright, so that is it for today. these were some questions which we have discussed today. In case of any queries, any difficulties, you can stop me right now, or you can use the link in description to get yourselves enrolled for our live classes where we'll be covering more course contents, more past paper questions, and it is starting from 1st June. So I'll see you in the next